fireman, cashman, Abidjan court, Adia Tantana with him. And then you can sky a criminal like that. Now, where Nipa, one nas, a kum Chinese, now me call court to be kind.
I know any proof until honor your for honor to change.
You want proof when I catch you, please. I have
fast proof for no more police for honor your friends. Yeah, but your honor in Chasso until honor inside.
You know, Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million.
Boka, I'm trying where's it come to just for information.
Into bra MPP chairman Yekunu ya chese honorable Agyapong reacted, but amount for they are associated to a defamation suit Anas Erini $18 million. So hi on Ghana TV message all the comment beba or comment section be like no subscribe be. Enyina hu bisa Anas Aremia Anas Erini defamation suit against honorable Agyapong $18 million. Anas ni lawyers no more per $30 million. Na Anas kra no ni lawyers kyerɛ sɛ ono anye sika no kra na no ohia o no ni din na honorable Agyapong ese no na no ohia na so lawyers ni kyerɛ sɛ sika no so ehia ɛyɛ omo agi na sebi ebia honorable Agyapong nim sɛ ɛyɛ agora wo hu sɛ ɛyɛ ni bresem na video Anas ediko US court eko wini ye daddy Fred video awone honorable Agyapong otwetwe nkomo emu ena nsem ni nyina wo ye bekọ akọhwe video no na me de mo kọ achi kakra ni nyina hyase ewo number 12 6 June 2018 abra Anas release football bribery ne scandals ane wo mu nyina na ora kosinyantachi eka ho eno eho ena hyase honorable Agyapong echese documentary Anas edibae no obese wodi gu MPP animu ase eno ono so anye wada Anas begu MPP government no animu ase nti emu ho na honorable Agyapong release ameswale picture oni Anas picture say ya Anas enya Anas no de Ghana for na bejeje eno e de banter between Anas and honorable Agyapong. Honorable Agyapong so release who watches the watchman watch Anas nyuma say do si faso trekking kofo ni ade watches Anas normal na oye no enye bribery na setup ho na hyase ma honorable Agyapong edisi Anas so a
it looks as if Anas is above the law and everybody seems to be afraid of him. Me Agyapong there, I'm not afraid of him because no kranu edi manimu de bia. And all I want Ghanaians to know, and he said, Onipa na all Chinensa Akachira will say, Mr. A, you corrupt because what you 10 cities or not 100,000.
Sembebria o release ye o kan ye eno na Anas e de court. During interviews honorable Agyapong ye nyina on Anas no ba ko ana me chese that Fred video no mu no eno ana Anas tam ye o the 5 charges ebo honorable Agyapong. First charge ye say honorable Agyapong kan o video no mu say o ye criminal Anas say sa criminal seminar honorable Agyapong e kan ye no e draw video no mu. Second charge na count 2 of the defamation Anas echire se honorable Agyapong eka se ameswale ewuo nyina enim se ameswale na danfo kra ya chene nansen saa ni wuo no ho no Anas be se onim hu bi fi se no ma bi Anas no echire se asede Anas enim hu bi bisa no eno ana saa video honorable Agyapong ni nchire mu Anas de koye. Third count nsema honorable Agyapong kan se Anas responsible for multiple Chinese nationals bia o chesa Anas kunkum omo ne ade o kan no video num eno ye third one say o say Anas kromfo nsase bi ne ade ha o kekan no mu o chesa Anas kromfo. Fifth count Anas the boy honorable Agyapong say honorable Agyapong eka say even wakọ court Ghana court kura approve a kire court say ampa Anas ekum Chinese for ampa nti saa nsema honorable Agyapong kan say wakọ Ghana court approve a kire judges ni say ampa wakum Chinese for no and only 50 na Anas edikan nsem ho tinina mun damages na Anas chese o ye traumatized chese nsema o tie na honorable Agyapong kekan no chese na ma waye momodwe the fast forward no na is Anas ne lawyers sansem we honorable Agyapong mo call US court want me improve no omo demand $30 million, 5 million, another 10 million, another 5 million, another 10 million, an award of damages Anas ne lawyer na omo demand na omo kan ya ekodu 18 million nanso so honorable Agyapong esre court no enti so sa na Anas lawyer no kire the Anas lawyer and Kevin Taylor twetwe nkoma ni nyina so eko viral na eni kan hwe video on the 7th September 2021 sa video yi na honorable Agyapong ne Daddy Fred atwetwe nkoma Anas edeko ye hwe sa video ni mra ba na etie Anas lawyer no ene said yesikoso.
Let me go to Ambeswan. A criminal like Anas, very evil guy, very evil, and he continues to do that even under MPP for Eshelde Anas. And so, as far back as February 2018, now we have just been in power for 1 year. Now Anas, a Cossetti, MPP ministers up. You see somebody you have to believe more than me in Japan. I have all the videos, and I've given you the date, 8 February 2018. Anas, that evil boy, was setting MPP people up to disgrace them. That's how he makes his money. Or blackmailing for. And he sa am swollen or no akasa or magina come crest also or where you crop for on where is journalist or unravel corruption or my country.
On the video Bob saying the video Baba too just said and wasema Okan war radio says or bad premises the bisa amount for mono and omote ya wasan and check and a woo ye and one check him one interpret about the cartoon page and amount for shas here interpret
Mamen Kasim true. I'm Kasim true. Wuni nipa. Assume me say be nam the kotu ho na ma obi akwa ye. Wo a woni ni ye dwuma. Enipa no ewu ye within 20 minutes. Me dey na maintain po. Now who they are to social media or the two so did he even say good things about Ameswali? No sympathy, nothing. And when I will say he's behind it because he wanted to divert attention. One, Adentina Asemasi, police investigation Ukrainian course. Now who was sending message to a congressman here? Some mimika saying well, Adenti Ghana for Magini Susasana. Ghana for Magini Susasa. A criminal like that now where nipa one Anas a kumkum Chinese for kumu. Now me call court me kind.
I know any proof until honor yem for honor to change.
Me proof when I catch you, please. I have
fast proof for no police for honor yen fair so cra. Yeah, but your honor yen chaso until honor yen inside.
Crash it. I think Mr. Me what proof. I have all the videos of the Chinese people. What are you talking about? My court to crack can I know radio so I've gone to court and stated it. Clearly, why are you afraid? Why?
I don't know what Canada Japan to share so far. No, one no share situation now. As a mood near my goose so a coup and massy.
That penny, one now money your problem. Muamuti, Ghana, America, and with all due respect to some of Ghanaians, no, woman near Juma Papa Bianoa, sorry, social media. Omona, Sassam way of many and come quote. And come quote because a new man person a year the boy Ghana. Ni say Jimmy Semnoa, a bimoti radio Sony TV so and they are comfort to say Anas or Jim for Sassy, Roman sisters now when your soldier phone paying phone you know I will talk and he a whole me problem and I mean him my catcher will say me say once I'm fighting for the truth there be I'll get enemies.
Into on 7 September 2021 video here Daddy Fred ne honorable Agyapong twetwe no pa na Anas ejina so e de call Chinese okunkum ni sa no mani nyina omo de call ya judge no declare ye ma Anas ewini ye but don't forget say this case here omo di Ghana ha ma honorable Agyapong ewini ye Anas defamation suit or they call against honorable Agyapong no honorable Agyapong ewini ye e Ghana ha in 2024 March na honorable Agyapong wini ye no USDA honorable Agyapong e de sa win ya o wini ye sa na meka no e koye e wo US honum e kire US court say impo Ghana mpo wini na so ni nyina mu no ankosi aga na yenhwe video na mo court ho no kakra ewi a na etie Anas lawyer no se do si kire mu nyina.
Okay, so the court's decision, as we start at the end, the court is denying a request for mistrial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, Mr. P. The interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes.
And that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there's if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, and someone just like about my client. So, like, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. And so, interesting enough, after reviewing the video, in our training, there's something that we are taught. Say, in your case, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring. So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you tweet back court New Jersey, as I say, papa no video no so papa na nenum nsam kire say o kase fi ni fie New Jersey. Now when you say your chrome for so no the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. They all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, when you say, a lawyer. So obviously, he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Odell Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So after the preliminary back and forth, initially the case we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit sometime, I think. Sometime I think in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And by law, there was a period by which Papa no Anka was responding with what is known as an answer. But so Papa no one filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, so say a serial killer in terms of Woku Chinese for Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal, a blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, behind Woody Sembiana, that means say a trigger man, and also be perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went undefended after the response time, now we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with two brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemega Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record. And the case went at that point. Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously because near judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default. They argued that they had a solid defense, and I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana. Almost really see it. And I don't know, so say almost defense to case I
because
New Jersey.
We knew
But
Ghana, so case no
exactly.
It's only almost case. Okay.
And so as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation sits here, say kind of my the work for court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean what you mean judgment of Ghana and from the defending way, you still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because but free other countries. There are certain times that even though any of presidential value, I just said, dead into me, India, but to me the two na senior especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances, sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emrano drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, in this case, not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard. Okay. And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth and we forged on, and we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year, and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday, and we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, answer na ever try case the difference between what happened with Ghana and see Johannes say trial by jury into judge or judge back one I say judge me no one I say judge me and send a bit but normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and in this case, we started off with veneer. That's the technical word for when the prospective jurors are brought in. We're from a veneer. It's a veneer of 60 citizens, tax-paying citizens of the state of New Jersey, specifically Newark, New Jersey, and its surroundings, were brought in, and after what is known as Boadaya, which is the process by which they are questioned to see if they have any sort of bias or anything that will stand
for Ghana for your vetiomo. Say bia
vetiomo just say obi nim asem hu bia na so onimu bia asem we fan ho ana say obi wo hwa bia nyame bi osom no so we went through all of that. That was day one. That took from area to the end of the day. And so on Tuesday, we came to court and we had our opening statements. They had their opening statements. And then we proceeded to put on our evidence. And at the close of the evidence, the jury was instructed, judge, in this case, judge, Ometro Emrano, na Omodiama, jury, no Omekin first. So amomo paper amodibeko inside akwako decide the different deliberations me nim dey say no can trim but me so say me almost the pensing okay And there are some more about Thursday about 4:30. Yeah, the church room running now, and there are some more 4:30. Into no yeah, crying again say we be an 4:30 no yeah, caught a pump right around that time, which is I believe consistent with the practice in I know it's consistent with the practice in Ghana. Yeah, no cry. I just so you could be at Nana. Yeah, take a deep breath and reflect on what has transpired during the past 4 days. And about 20 minutes later, we got word that the jury. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that Meka charges counts now the buy and the civil claims now the buy. His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Uniano, he came to court and asserted truth as his defense. And so
time I caught say sa counting na mode bono no say on it and us back and forth, right? The only claim of making or say banter I just say we can't wait and share or no you're not all can you say ubi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court media that was not
and yes, I know what kind of record no G2.
Yeah, or maintaining the position say no can or down standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically, memorandum chess or practice no crane D and on Yebo.
Okay.
So to support that, or the move your child in it to who watches a watchman. But they are also by as on only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So jury never bugui. About 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of very quick, and there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana Samuel.
All against
8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no Biedu Komono. And also there was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes no take down said there was no doubt in our presentation to what you kind of lay people. These are not experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay
people who just sat and used their common sense to come to a conclusion.
No. I will not say use their. I will not say use their common sense.
They listen to you and they listen to the other part. It makes sense though.
And then the law is the law. No judge in this world has any power to bend the law. That sort of conduct is what causes strife and war in places.
Yeah.
America had the judge actually before the judge read kind jury instruction, but catch jurors and say, no, only to be it's asking and that's how it went. But what's interesting about Nisi and or a lawyer contrary, even though people don't give him credit for that.
At least Bonidina Anas as I'm now working.
But Anas, Anas, also a very astute lawyer, and some people walk cry a car on Jim Tumu, but sometimes a team of legal team to we come to a compromise. Now, he has been adamant about clearing his name because I have a personal experience of understanding. It's one of the worst things that can happen to someone.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took the position. Say he wanted a trial. He's not interested in any settlement. He's not here for the money. He's here to clear his good name that he has built over time. And in his profession, at this time, Anka also started doing one. So he always maintained that he wanted a trial to the point where sometimes there was a disagreement in the legal team. Now, procedurally, no, when say America, no, the peace. Said that yes, schedule say, and from this time to this time, no, can you support to staff that work to no, we are dedicating it to your case. Into it's no small matter.
I know.
I've
been there. It's not easy.
Before they will go to trial, no, there's mandatory settlement conference. I better say this maybe by this time no will be say ya grow no or commit to the right senses and decide say this shouldn't go on because yes. And I acquire no unfortunately me and Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million, just like the jury came back. As you know, these days we have all kind of tools that we can use to predict certain things.
Before you go ahead, this is where the contention is, and people saying 80 million, others saying a year 30 million. Now when you read,
well, we'll come to that. Let me clarify. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, complaints near the coin. Yeah, claim for $30 million, $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, and what I'm saying is that at before the mandatory settlement conference, before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million US. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, papa about court. Now the lawyers just say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and they said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Muko Drew Hono, and that's initially kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And the client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw pay $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then the priority of going to court.
Yes.
But because of the experience, now unim sibi anyo matiano, uno client here Anas Kasa and say it would be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, no client Anas no. You did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel and as a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
Oh yes, and like I said, your lawyer at Wemega, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Also come home. And Andrew D here.
Yeah, you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Wemega is there.
Yes,
D here is there. Crow is there. Yourself. Basically, as we are speaking to you, we are speaking to all of them because.
Yes. So the whole team agreed on that, but he was the only reluctant one in settling the matter. But procedurally, we couldn't go to trial without actually going through to the settlement conference.
Yes.
In spite of his reservations, we still almost cut our demand down to about a little over half.
Okay.
But to our surprise, papa no buy and also no bet $10,000 to end the case.
No.
And arbitrator now who said no, some way I'm sure so I can papers So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. So to go back to how it ended, so at about 4:50 on Thursday. And the jury brought us in and they told us what unanimously what they had arrived at. But we decided to keep it under wraps because there was a component you multiply 18 million by 5 money do 90 million for a total of about
was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, because
to do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say but we are with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
We ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of ×5 because almost file motions be I just say or see a 2 in terms of that and say one way or another I could pursue that times 5 and I say depending on what happens maybe I bit me German and cafe. But at this time almost my court no say busa into so.
Okay. So at this point Oma Makoti who say ombeba 80 million or omo pentiswo. How many days do they have to file that? Okay.
So at this point, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper, a judgment. I just say court reading seal better so.
Yeah.
That will take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, depending on how that motion goes,
okay.
We will get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our times 5 of that 18 million, or a big manakaho. So depending on how that motion goes,
So for now,
yes.
18, Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because hypothetically, so much to grab back 10, we still have the opportunity to go for times 5.
That is 50. Okay.
Yeah, into call extra 50 plus. Yeah, hypothetically, so much to back 10, we can go for another times 5.
You as a Ghanaian and also a lawyer and defending a fellow lawyer who is a journalist. This has been an experience. Do you want to share something with us when it comes to these kind of defamations and how comparing our judicial system back home and in the States? I'm not forcing you to condemn any, but I'm trying to find out from you. There are so many people in Ghana, they don't really understand how the American judiciary works because we are so used to the Ghana style of judiciary whereby things go a certain way. And I would say sometimes very, very slow. And sometimes you need to know something for even things to move the pace you want. In terms of how this case, how fluid it went, and comparing it to back home. I'm saying back home because I am more concerned back home, and especially when Kennedy presented a case where we knew fear, which is the same defamation case. And he tried to use that as a basis that what he did was right. From your experience as a professional, what have you I don't want to say what have you learned. What do you want to share something with us before you go?
Yeah. Me perceive me share all the young people in Ghana, me show them crying say Nah, the country is a young country. So I tend not to criticize too strongly. But Oman and young people need to take their rightful position in the country because you know, my only thing is that young people see that it's wrong or they know it's wrong, they need to stand up for their rights. The country is still young, so I would not be pointing any fingers at anybody. But me American, I'm cool school from high school. I lawyer, and you know, I know America very well. And for the past 7 years, I was licensed in Ghana in 2014, and I've been practicing actively for the last 7 years in Ghana. See, I know the problems that we face. I think it's a systemic problem that allows people to hide in there to sort of engage in certain conduct because Democrats, you know, say the system, justice system, if it does not guarantee justice, and then one day, you know, there's going to be a problem. And you know, I like to direct my comments to all young politicians, those who have entered the fray, you know, about 40 and less, you know. Let's not, if we see things that are not right, let's not say because you benefited from it because your party we want to say party we you know, we're going to condone it. We all need to make sure that we are contributing to building a Ghana that we can all live in. And you know, I would like to end on that. The system is not perfect. There are many things that we can do to also improve it. I will not talk about the substance of some of the things, but I also think the judiciary in Ghana is burdened with a lot of work. There are certain things that exist here in the US that they don't have that perhaps need to be implemented. Some of these judges in this country, in the US, are ably assisted by law clerks who help them lessen their burden. But like I said, the young people in Ghana, we need to look at ourselves, because I've had judges tell me, say, I've suggested that, and I've had judges tell me, say, oh no, if a young person cry, but every office on here, we want to say, oh, leaky judgment, ajiska, before the judgment is granted. So I will not be pointing fingers at, what happened in Ghana was a travesty of justice. I'll say that without mincing words.
The defamation, now Kennedy Winnie.
Absolutely, because I'm now a solid, which back to the member can say, before a court can pronounce someone as a criminal, no, there ought to be a due process ought to be followed. And I have a publication that's going to come out on this subject in a very near future. For the courts to have called my client a criminal without giving him a criminal trial was a travesty of justice. And the court in New Jersey rightfully classified that as obiter is dicta. It can never be a criminal conviction.
So that
because
was,
one of the things
that was how the court in New Jersey, the Superior Court in New Jersey, actually addressed that particular.
Yes, because the will be criminal. The will be criminal. You can bring proof to say the person has been adjudged to be a criminal. You understand? So the Ghana judgment by na court na jurors na engineer so and when we brought a police clearance certificate at CID headquarters through the proper normal channels, we got it. It was sealed before we brought it to court, and that was giving more credence than what the judge said about Anas being a criminal, because that is the right thing.
How do you feel as a Ghanaian lawyer, a young Ghanaian lawyer standing before a U.S. judge, making a statement like this from a court in Ghana? I feel it's quite embarrassing.
Like I said, our country is growing. We are the U.S. is 200 and something years old. We are 60 something years old. So I like to always look at things from an optimistic standpoint. I hope that this is going to be a lesson, because Ghana is not Euros no Ghana. Just by dint of even some of your papa no cry amount for Ghana. Uber Krumwa. I remember say in the middle of the trial, Uber via driver and catch him say, I'm moving Ghana tourism country. Mano is young, but it's a country that we all need to protect and we need to guard zealously. And that starts from the delivery of justice, because no one should have to feel that they need to go outside the four corners of Ghana to get justice. Justice emanates from the people, and we have enough people in Ghana. Because I saw say recently, judges know. They are educating people about the jury system. As part of our civic responsibility, it will also go a long way, along with amending laws to allow more juror participation in different kinds of cases now.
Lawyer Evans Selassie Adeka, or somebody Esquire. So thank you very much, and I'll also say thank you to your colleagues that helped. In this case, Andrew De Gea, also Arthur Wemega Esquire, and a day crow. I would like to say I really appreciate your time. You've educated us and also made things very clear to Ghanaians.
I'd like to point something else. So there were a few things that I think I glossed over. I think I told you, said the threshold that we had to meet in the US was much higher than in Ghana. And in that regard, one of the allegations that was made is that you are a serial killer in terms of multiple Chinese. What was appalling, crying, say, video, say, proof, say, I'll be dinner stand, say, Chinese phone. Video, it was an embarrassment, because it was some video, I mean, say, preconayo. Namoya hangi wo unu say umkuabwa hangi mamuja no sone no
and then on be sure say
minim say no kwemu minti na nka cho say no ana say minum adekode, but it was definitely what he said he was going to produce. And I think that really disgusted the jury, because and it's not something to accuse someone of lightly.
Thank you very much for clarifying this. Ivan Selassie Adeka Esquire, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate every single minute you've shared with us here. At least we are to rest for now. From your explanation on this case we enya ende the response from the defendant, Kennedy Agyapong, the lawyers, so we're waiting for them to also file what they have to file. Now, I share where it goes from where we are now.
Yeah, and just to clarify, any response, so no, and can I have for times 5 for no?
Yeah.
The assembly attitude, just say, yeah, no person more now for the sake of transparency, no, be in that time now, or yes, we be yano na. Almost them there, judging better so. The almost them when you're dance why we did not 18 na decided say, we have some decisions to make. What I say, and not appeal, but the thing is appeal, the difficulty is appeal no US answer no which me appeal, he needs to put the full $18 million down in a bond. Answer no which me appeal no. And we Bob Bryant today, I'm sure say depending on how that goes, we have the prerogative of deciding say we ever go for times 5 based on that 18 million if it stands, and I say almost so bad hypothetically says even 10 and I say 12 krana will still decide say was or bar up with a nice offer. So between Canada, I'm not saying because I told you union or no Kuranadian or no so a lawyer, we'll work on we'll entertain that and decide say okay, ABI region young pesa times 5 no and I say because change now but times 5 no. Because there are certain other things that happen. There are certain things that also happen that will influence our decision one way or another.
Lawyer, we will be on standby, and I know, sir.
Okay.
Baby, I know we will come back for more clarification and education. We really appreciate you
very
much. Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, he has been our guest. He is one of the lawyers of Alnas Arim Yao Anas.
Abusua Adwumapa on demand service for na say Adwumapa on demand for say o pese wo di dwuma bia nkankangana fo amwo brochire a obehia nipa didi so ya tilers anasa building constructors fashion designers just auto mechanical bia wo pese wo di say dwuma bia ma no obekọ ye app no so na wa download Adwumapa on demand service ayesa so obekọ www.adwumapa-on-demand-service eno so obekọ ko hu edwumadi edi nyina ni trimopo nyina no se ye boawo ema wo kwakofo obi ana wo di dwuma bia nipa wo kwakofa no esansa wonim na kira kwan bia nti no to bi kura nipa na gisika wie wo pen he na hu no Adwumapa on demand for aba ama sa ha nyina afiri ho esansa obi bia ya de be ma wo so woni dwuma bia ma no ya ye background checks ehun se sa nipa yi onim ne wo ye enye kwanche trefa ni bia wonim de wo ye ene ye fa no edna ma wo na ni December ko omu ne se onipa bia de be ma wo a odi be di dwuma bia no sabe background no sem anase si ebu afaso pade a enya de besi na wanso san nim se sabe ko soja mumpo a ye wo military police ono so soja ni ochi soja ni eno me kire mu se eye Adwumapa on demand for no ye san so supervisors a abre nyina no omko rounds check se adwuma na nipa no de beda ye no sa pepepe ene ye no na se Adwumapa on demand de omama adwuma no aye simple se bibi ni ena onte ase ampacho no wafa numbers no aye gusuo no no wafre